and welcome here to more Talk FCB, and welcome here to a more subdued video on the channel, because in today's video we're going to be looking back and paying tribute to a legend, an icon, and a truly huge figure of the game, not just in the past, not just in the present, and not just in the future, but forever, because we're going to be celebrating the career and the life of Diego Maradona, who today, at the age of 60, sadly passed away. We're all thinking of him and his family right now, which brings about time for some reflection. Because sadly, indeed, just a few hours ago, it was confirmed that Diego Maradona had sadly passed away after suffering a heart attack while staying there at his house in his native Argentina. And it was in Buenos Aires there that he did pass away. And that, of course, was extremely sad and shocking news for every single one of us. And to be honest, I don't even think technically it matters if you're a fan as such of Maradona. As a person, as a footballer, it doesn't matter whether you grew up watching him, whether you've seen him in the years that have gone by. I think whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever team you support, there's some connection within you that goes back to Maradona. Whether it be there through your parents, through your grandparents, they've grown up watching him, they've chosen their teams based on what he's done, whether you've heard stories about him, whether that's your first sort of memories of the beautiful game, or whether, of course, it's people who've come after Maradona, but with that influence. You look at players who've come through. We're going to talk about Ronaldinho, we're going to talk about his reaction in today's video. Of course, we're going to talk about Lionel Messi, players who've come after him with that same flair, with that same ideology. He truly was an icon, achieved everything there was to achieve in the game, but above all else, above the stats, above the trophies, it was the way he played, the way that he carried himself out there on the field, that quite simply brought joy and happiness to millions of people, and not just in Argentina, but right throughout the world. This man was adored, and that's why we must celebrate what he achieved. Because like I say, in Argentina, of course, right now, the emotions and the feelings, they are going to be very, very raw. It is going to be such a sad evening, and indeed the days and weeks and months to come. Because Maradona, like I say, touched so many lives. What he did in games, what he did there to bring people a sense of happiness, a sense of joy that they couldn't get anywhere else. And as a result, as you can see there, the president of Argentina actively calling there for days of national mourning there to mourn their hero and their icon. 3 days of national mourning will start from today, so the country can grieve following the sad loss of Diego Maradona. And I also want to point out as well, before we do get on to the very touching tribute, and so many professionals, so many past players, so many current players giving tribute to this great man, I do also want to point out that it was actually 15 years today that another icon of the game, George Best, passed away. And what are the chances of that? And George Best, if you remember him, if you've heard stories about him, he was a player too who had incredible quality about his game, but very similar to Maradona in terms of character. He was somebody who at times didn't always play by the rules, at times he did things his own way, and he very much enjoyed doing that. Both of them there, two greats, passing away on November the 25th, which is undoubtedly now a date that will go down in history. But before we do move on to those tributes, I do want to point out that every single Champions League game that did take place this evening, I think, to be honest, it did feel as though it was almost insignificant in some ways, playing football tonight, and the feeling that this was almost a surreal experience. It almost felt as though this couldn't be true, because I think with these legends sometimes you get caught up with everything that comes with football, and you just have the feeling that they're immortal. You never feel as though there won't be a Maradona, just like you never feel as though there won't be a Pele, there won't be a Messi. These players will always be here. But obviously the reality is, they simply won't be. But that's why these moments hurt so much. And like I say there, all UCL games observing a minute of silence in tribute to Maradona. And even though tonight, Napoli were not in action on the night, as you can see here, Stadio San Paolo, their home stadium, was lit up, and it will remain lit right throughout the night, right throughout the evening, to remember their hero in the city of Naples, with the mayor of Napoli also calling for a day of mourning in the city, because of course in in Naples as a player of Napoli. Maradona, he received cult status. He received the highest possible accolade from every single member there of the Naples community. They love him. They adore him there. He achieved monumental things there, winning Serie A, not just once, but winning it twice there in Italy, a feat that at the time was simply seen as an impossible thing to do, but he managed it, and now indeed, it appears the stadium in Napoli, it will be named after Maradona. According there to the president and owner, it is in place. Conversations have already taken place. Napoli's stadium may be called San Paolo Diego Armando Maradona. And I think that's fitting. But of course, it wasn't just the Argentines, it wasn't just the people in Napoli who were really affected and really touched by the way that Maradona went about his game, because he was, of course, also a player for Barcelona, and of course the club there paying tribute to their former man, and certainly there has been an absolutely great reaction. The video I did earlier on Talk FCB, so many fantastic comments there from Barcelona fans by way of Diego Maradona, and of course Lionel Messi, not only a Barcelona player, but of course also Argentine, having worked with Maradona as well in the past when he was coach of the Argentina national team. Messi came out, he said it's a very sad day for all Argentines and for football. He said he is gone, but he has not left us, because Diego is eternal. I cherish all of the beautiful moments experienced with him, and I want to take the opportunity to send my condolences to all of his family and friends. Rest in peace. There was also words this evening from Cristiano Ronaldo. He said, "Today I say goodbye to a friend and the world says goodbye to an eternal genius." He said, "One of the best ever, an unparalleled magician. He leaves too soon, but with a legacy without limits and a void that will never be filled. Rest in peace. You will never be forgotten," in another glowing tribute. But it's not only been players who've been talking about the influence of Maradona. Of course, many of the coaches in the modern game there were either experiencing Maradona's career as a player when they were kids, or of course whether they've grown up and they've been in and around watching his genius very, very close up. Pep Guardiola said what he did for Napoli and for Argentina in 1986 when he won the World Cup, he said that was something unbelievable. He said on the pitch he was something unique. For one or two generations, he was a player you'd say, wow, what a player. It's such sad news. A big hug for all of his family. And Jose Mourinho also paying tribute on Instagram. His message much, much shorter, but I think just as powerful. He said, "Don Diego, friend, I miss you." And I think that goes for so many people, not only in the game, but outside of the game too. Maradona is a figure that, as many of these tributes say, he may be gone, but he will certainly never be forgotten, because what he's done, you just don't forget that. There was also a touching quote from, of course, somebody there who's been compared with Maradona on many occasions over the years. When you're talking there about past greats, it's always Pele and Maradona. Pele came out, he said, "What sad news. I lost a great friend and the world lost a legend." He said there's still much to be said, but for now, may God give strength to his family members. One day, I hope we can play ball together in the sky. And I thought those words there were a very nice touch indeed from Pele. But I've actually kept here one of the best until last, because I felt as though one of the most touching posts I've seen. Clearly there's somebody speaking from the heart. It was Ronaldinho. Somebody there who as a kid idolised Maradona. Now me myself, having idolised Ronaldinho, having grown up there watching, and the influence that Ronaldinho certainly brought me as a football fan, to see him here speaking about his idol, about what Maradona meant to him and how he really helped shape his career. Ronaldinho said, "My condolences to the family and to all who love this genius." He said, "My friend, my idol, my number 10, thank you for every moment, either in games or in a simple dinner." He said, "Our conversations were always very special, and I will cherish all moments of joy out on the field, where I was there to admire you and pay tribute to your greatness." He said, "I was inspired during my career by you, and when we met for the first time," he said, "we played five-a-side, and that was one of the best nights of my life, playing there with my idols." He said, "Rest in peace, my idol. I love you. Eternal." And I think, as you can imagine, not only here from players, not only from famous faces in the game, but certainly in terms of the world's media, there is going to be so many articles written, so many memories that are going to be brought back, so many things to reminisce about from Maradona's absolutely glittering career as a professional. And of course, in terms of the front pages, the headlines there on every single major sports paper, doesn't matter what country you go to, it doesn't matter where you look in terms of the media, the appreciation, the gratitude there for what this man brought the game like I said before, it will not be forgotten. Maradona, sadly, left us today, but in terms of football, he will always remain in our hearts. So that there, guys, concludes today's video in terms of a tribute here to Maradona. There have been so many touching messages in terms of what he brought many players that we see in the game today. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you have any memories? Did you grow up watching him? Have you watched things since? Have you certainly learned things there from your parents or grandparents? Let me know all of those stories as we can reminisce in the comments down below. Thank you indeed for watching on what has been a very emotional day. I'll see you soon, guys, with more uploads to come. But until next time, as always, Visca el Barça.